How do you tell if a league starter is actually good? Even I struggle sometimes. I look at probably hundreds of POBs per day. And I think there's three main reasons why we have this glaring transparency problem in PoE. Firstly, PoE is a PvE game. As my third, maybe second favorite toxic streamer always says when he's talking about softcore, if you can't lose, you can't win. In this sense, it's really easy to not know if a build is winning or losing or performing well. In HC, when a build loses, that character dies. In softcore, you're able to really brute force things, so you can't really tell about the early game performance of a build, especially since you can just jump into like 200 divines by day 2. You know, a streamer logs off to something he logs on with a ton of special uniques that are, T1s. It's really cool. Secondly, POB numbers can be misleading. They don't account for how you play, and they don't account for what monsters in the game are actually doing. So offensively, the best example is dot versus hit based. Dot builds, like true dot builds, previously cold dot, ignite builds have real, almost 100% uptime in their DPS, whereas a hit based build, a bow Deadeye, even like a explosive trap or ice trapper, those things will have to constantly get their damage out, constantly use skills to keep up their damage uptime. Defensively, a really good example is armor. Say your build has like 15k max phys hit, and your only physical mitigation source is armor, that build is actually really tanky, because that armor is going to be super effective at mitigating small physical hits. So again, like the numbers don't always tell the story. And thirdly, and probably the most annoying, is that we don't have a shared set of constraints. What are you allowed to put into a League Star POB? I don't know. I saw a League Star POB the other day with like 2 Void Batteries, Badge of Brotherhood, Ralakesh. That's quite a few T1 uniques to be putting on a League Starter. I mean, at other times, I've talked about the time it takes to gear something in SSF, but that's highly variable as well. My preferred these days is about using 2 mod gear, like blue gear, that sort of meme. I think it's a pretty effective measure of a League Starter. Having 2 good mods, not even perfect mods, can already be pretty difficult to attain a lot of times. And even 1C uniques can be pretty misleading. I remember I POB'd with Ungil's Harmony for a while, and then the next patch, GGG made Ungil's Harmony a legitimate T1 unique out of nowhere, even though it wasn't really good. I actually think that was wrong to put in the POB anyways, but who knows. So, what do we propose? Well, I mean, I've been uploading a lot of these clean 2-stone runs, and Havoc's been doing that same thing, but with Lightning Arrow and Tornado Shot a lot over and over again. I think this is a reasonable showcase about how a build performs in the early game. And that's not really what I want for other people, but that's what I want for myself. I want to see how other people's builds are performing in the early game, how it does early map progression, how it is able to perform on no gear. And of course, there's always the argument saying like, well, if you're a bad player mechanically or knowledge-wise in terms of gearing, your run will look worse. And I actually beg to differ, because the way I see it, the longer you take to do one of these runs, the better your gear will be, because you'll be engaging with different mechanics, you'll be taking your time for looting. I'm basically using my Blood Aqueducts gear until T16s in all these runs. If you're taking your time and looting, you can get much better performance out of the build. And more importantly, you have the time to do it. I mean, as a build maker in PoE, why would you not go and do this? Why would you not want to see how your build is actually going to perform? And why would you not want to share that with your viewers? Why would you not want to share that with the whole community? It helps to make everyone's builds better. It helps to enrich your own build making experience, and it helps to hold yourself to a legitimate standard. I mean, at the end of the day, there's people spending like 4 or 5 hours a day working on their thumbnails and their SEOs and like different ways to say, oh, please like, comment, and subscribe. Just spend that time working on your actual build, play it out, give us actual transparency and resources that I can actually see. Maybe I do want to league start with someone else's build this league. And when you provide that level of raw gameplay and gearing, it really provides a better lens for us to see into what your thinking process is at different parts of the game, how you do problem solving, and I think that's really interesting. All in all, I just think we should hold everyone to a just slightly higher standard. This isn't about creating an elitist mindset. It's just about having more transparency, more information, and more information about what you're actually already doing. So why not? Just do it.